Good morning, Sonder family. Welcome to your weekly setup. We are going to be setting up week 20 this morning, and I'm just so glad to welcome you. Maya and I will be your facilitators this morning. I'll be in front of the camera. Maya will be hanging out in the chat, and both of us are so glad that you carved out this time to be intentional with your journal, to set yourself up for a new week, to sit with a little bit of gratitude this morning for what this past week brought us. We're going to work on that rosebud thorn to do that reflection. We're just proud that you're here. So make sure your chat is set to everyone. That is how we will communicate. I was laughing. I asked how everybody's Maycember was going. I know the month of May is so busy and so crazy. Even if you're no longer a person with a bunch of kids in the house, it may just feels busy, right? So I want to be sure to say Happy Mother's Day to you guys. And I saw a beautiful little quote that said, "Mother is a verb." And I want us to approach this Mother's Day with that attitude because I think whether you're a fur mama or furry mama or you're a mama of human beings, um, or you're just a darn good friend, or you're a super supporter of this community, we all mother one another. And so I love that idea of a mother is a verb. And so happy Mother's Day to all of you who give of your heart and your soul. You may remember that this month is Mental Health Awareness, and I found this, I was so excited. May you thrive, may you flourish, may you fail, may you learn, may you laugh, may you shine, may you do all the things. So, yeah. Anyway, let's get going with our morning. Here's our community guidelines that we share when we are together with one another. Is there anybody who might be checking out a weekly setup for the first time? If that's you, drop that in the chat so that we can give you a good morning welcome. And then for those of you who are returning, it's so good to see your name scroll through that chat. It's always good to see our Sonder family. So Jennifer Henning just wrote, she's a first timer. Jennifer, you'll want to change your chat to where it says everyone. If it says hosts and panelists, that's okay, but just Maya and myself will see that. So y'all welcome Jennifer for the first time. And yeah, it has been a busy month. That month of Maycember for sure. So we do share these community guidelines because the number one thing about gathering online is that we do create safe spaces for one another. And so that's really the gist of all of these guidelines that you see. Um, and yeah, and then I want to point out our Silk and Sonder customer care team addresses hello@silkandsonder.com. If you should ever have any issues with your journal subscription, the things that headquarters can help you with, that's that customer care. And remember, it's usually Monday through Friday. From time to time, someone will pop on, but they are a Monday through Friday operation. And also, if you are watching this as someone who has logged onto the YouTube channel and you're seeing a repeat, we're glad that you took that time to rewatch or, grab an episode from a setup this week so that you can be intentional with your week 20. Let's get going. Here's our integrity theme. I chose this little meme or this little quote as kind of my guidepost, my pardon me, cornerstone. My allergies are kicking up today, so I apologize. Oh, Maureen says she usually does a YouTube channel, but we're glad that you're live today, Maureen. That's awesome. So for me, I was thinking about integrity, and I love this. Live your life as though your every act were to become a universal law. And for me, I thought, if we truly did that, then that is integrity in action. So I love that. Um, right, correct, Meredith. No chat on the YouTube replays. So the chat is so golden. That's why if you can make a live event, you'll want to make a live event just because of the community aspect of that. But we do record these just in case you want to go back and rewatch because you saw something that you weren't able to grab. For anybody who is here for the first time, we encourage you to grab a screenshot or sit with your phone if you see something that you like that you can grab to use in your journal. And when you're rewatching, you can always pause on the slides that you like. So anyway, I'm going to encourage you to share your setup in our Sonder club so that those visuals are available to everyone. And that's where we facilitators go to source content for our slides. And sometimes you'll see something from 3 years ago, and sometimes you'll see something from last week. So we try to keep it a little fresh for y'all with different things to look at. Also loved this quote by Brene Brown. Integrity is choosing courage over comfort. So, this morning we're going to be working on week 2 of the Integrity Mind Map, which, as you know, the mind map is your bonus prompt that you get when you come to the weekly setups. It's not in your journal, it's just an extra prompt. Then we'll do that rosebud thorn reflection, which I feel is a really nice way to have a little moment of gratitude for what the week brought us. And we'll do those weekly setup pages. So, because we are on week 2, you may not have gotten set up for the first week. So you might want to do this, in a number of spaces in your journal. I'm on the back page of my journal this month, that last notes page on page 60. But some people like to use the definition page or the quote page, or maybe you go week to week on your weekly scratch pad. Yeah, Maya's been using her expense tracker lately because that was an unused tracker for her. And so she's been dropping hers on that weekly expense, which is kind of nice because, there's those good lines there. So you'll want to divide this into 4 quadrants, maybe. I'm just kind of writing from week to week. I don't know if I will run out of space for week 4. I might have to flip and go to another one. The blank page on page 7. Has her landing page. And then Christy says she uses her Elevate planner, and maybe you have a Sidekick planner or another journal that you put some of these activities in. So our mind map this month is 4 weeks of looking at integrity, and we'll have a bonus mind map as we transition from May to June, which feels weird to say June. Alrighty, so last week we kicked off our deeper dig with looking at ourself in the inner world, identity and self-trust. And we asked this question of ourselves: where am I betraying or honoring my relationship with myself? This week, we're kind of doing the same thing, but this time we're looking at the relationships. So, romantic relationships, friends, family, some of the relationships that you get to choose, and some of the relationships that are chosen for you based on, where you're born, where you're married. And so we're asking ourselves, how honestly and consistently do I show up in my relationships? And I will share this slide, and then we'll put on some music for y'all to work on. So, a couple of neat quotes. Joyce Meyer says, we can improve our relationship with others by leaps and bounds if we become encouragers instead of critics, not judgmental folks. And then Maya Angelou says, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And those 2 quotes kind of made me, guided me to my answer this week. As many of you know, I have a little blue book that I read from every day. This is the Al-Anon program for family members of addicts, and I read this on the daily, make notes. It guides me, and it's really helped me grow. I said, really, if you're a human being, everybody is in recovery from life, but so I get a lot of insight from this little book. And one of the quotes is, while these loved ones may not meet our expectations, it is our expectations, not our loved ones, that have let us down. our own expectations. And so I framed this out in that light. You may go in a different direction, but that's what spoke to me. And then I'll share with you. I started my response as I'm a work in progress. I've grown a lot in understanding that I cannot control other people's actions or reactions or choices. I just try to show up in my relationships with honesty and consistency, aware that I have a tendency to want to control things or outcomes. But I have gotten better about letting others just own their own life, their own choices, whether they align with my beliefs or not. And that has led me to just being able to show up with acceptance. So that's kind of where I went. And this little book is called One Day at a Time in Al-Anon. And it's just a little daily reading, and mine are, I write again, I just do this little reading because it has helped me realize that I really cannot control other people. And that's what we tend to do. So, anyhow. All righty. So I'm going to put on some music while you sort of think about how honestly and consistently do you show up in relationships. And I'm a recovering changer, right? Like I think I have power over people to change. And, it took me a lot of work to realize I can't control anybody's actions but my own. If you've read the book Let Them by Mel Robbins, a lot of that is that recovery mindset about, really the only person you have control over is yourself. And when you show up as your authentic self, then you can honestly and consistently show up for others. So again, a work in progress. I am nowhere near perfect. Just ask Jim Ogilvy because I'm always on him. But that was just sort of where this question led me and where I am in my journey. All right, I'm excited for you to share as you're comfortable in the chat as you consider this week's question. Kara, that is such a question. Um, Kara wrote, how can we be kind to ourselves with this? I hate failing my friends and family. And as I was actually working on this prompt and writing my response out, I realized that a lot of the judgments and stuff that I have has to do with that fear and trying to toe the line and be the quiet one and not cause problems, right? And I realized also, when I think about how I show up in my relationship, like I show up most authentically in my marriage because the man I married, as problematic as I can be, loves me no matter what. And so it really is the warts and all. And so maybe when we're thinking about maybe we feel like maybe we're failing folks, but also maybe there's that safe space that allows us to fail and not show up perfectly. And I think people would rather have an authentic you in their life, like the people who really matter really want authentic you, warts and all. So I don't know. That's a great question and it's a good thought. And again, I think it's so easy to say, oh, I show up and I'm there for everybody. And maybe that's not always the best thing either, right? If you're a people pleaser. So this one could go really deep. We could probably write and talk and visit. This is when I wish we were all sitting around a big table or we were in a big room and we could share with one another. So if you didn't get it finished up, that's okay. You can work on this through the week again, let it bump around. I actually wrote mine out yesterday, but it's still, some things are still coming up with it. So anyway, yeah, thanks for visiting with that prompt. So now we're going to go look at page 36. I think I got that right. Yeah. That is our rosebud thorn reflection for this past week, what the week's brought you. And you may choose to wait until, you close out today or tomorrow to do this. But let's think about those. I'll start with the thorns, the things that are causing you stress or that are challenging or a place that you need more help. Sometimes thorns are temporary and sometimes they're just hanging out with you. Medical things just don't always resolve immediately. And I know with all this spring weather, everybody's doing allergies and illnesses. And it's like, that can be a thorn that could last a couple, 3 weeks, or maybe you're a caregiver. And Carolyn, I had week one here, right there. If you want to grab that really quickly, it was where am I betraying or honoring my relationship with myself, so that you can grab that. Um, all righty. And then we look at our buds. What are the things we're looking forward to? What's giving you hope or motivation, inspiration? And it could be something like in a year from now, but it's like it's a little bud that's in your life, things that you're working at. And then the rose. What's something you're grateful for that's positive in your life right now? Y'all, my thorn is, I had mentioned a couple weeks ago, I am assuming the power of attorney role for my mom since my brother's death, and it is a thing. Oh my goodness, all the hoops to jump through. And so I'm just tired of going to banks and sitting in offices and trying to get that. So that's my thorn. It's going to get better. My bud is that my middle nephew, my brother's middle boy, is graduating from university next weekend, and we're going to take a road trip to Indiana to watch him cross that stage. And I'm just super excited to celebrate that boy. And then my rose was I got to go on a field trip as a chaperone with my preschool granddaughter in her classroom. And we went to the butterfly place here in Dallas. And y'all, she was terrified. She didn't want a butterfly to land on her. And she walked through it like under my jacket, like she wouldn't have anything to do with it. But it was such a rose. Those are my people. I've mentioned before, I'm a retired early childhood administrator, and those are my little people. I love 4 and 5 year olds. So we had so much fun. She was just terrorized by the beautiful little butterflies. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking and you guys are already sharing. Go ahead and keep sharing your roses, your buds, and thorns, and let's just grab onto each other for those thorns and then lift each other up for those roses and buds. I'm laughing at Dawn. She got her driver's license picture taken and she says, "Oh, it's horrible." Don't you hate that? It's like, "Oh, great. You get to live with me for the next 8 years in my wallet." And everybody gets to say, "Oh, is that you?" Um, I love this reflection every week because it does help us just take a pause, take a beat, and think about what the week brought us and the things that we can look forward to, as we keep going through this brand new month. All right, so let's go start looking at those weekly planner pages, which you'll find on 40 and 41 for week 20. Goodness. I always like to just show some examples of, how people have set this particular page up. You can see that, they're all different. I am such a black pen person. I rarely use stickers and I don't use a lot of color, but it's all about that reminder of doing you and what works in your life. You can see the habits and activities all look a little bit different for each one of these pages. We've got setting goals. We've got goals taped over with some beautiful washi tape. And then we have goals over there on the right where they're just color coding, each one of those things to color in their little box each week or each day. When you think about how you want to feel, you can have one word, you can have many words. The one in the middle, I want more of something and less of something. So, just that reminder of how you can set this up. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and you can see the one in the middle just has a mental health corner. And so, sort of this beautiful little menu to go to take care of your mental health. And then they've changed their goals up, they've repurposed that for their to-do list. So, again, it's all about taking what you need from the week. So let's start with how we want to feel. And I've started really thinking about before I write in the box, really doing a quick body scan and checking in with myself. How am I feeling right now? And if I'm feeling pretty good, then that will help me choose the word I want. But if I'm feeling not so great, that helps me frame out like, okay, I'm feeling, lethargic, but I want more energy. And so that will help me choose the word so that I can manifest what I want for the week. And remember, your feelings are signals, not orders. You don't have to act on every feeling. Here are some great words to maybe frame out, start thinking about how you'd like your week to go. So perhaps something, excuse me, something on there will jump out at you. Please drop in the chat what you're thinking. I had been using this space for some affirmations, and I've just written affirmations in there. Last week I changed, and I'm going to keep it the same. I want to feel hopeful and joy filled as I am emerging from this period of grief with the loss of my brother. And so being filled with hope and joy is really what I want to manifest. So drop that in the chat. Maybe one of these words will jump out at you for what you want your week to bring your way. And as we are looking at that, we've got some examples. You can see there's another at the bottom left, another more of something and less of something. Little word cloud. You can just throw some fun stickers here or do a little bit of a doodle there. I love, like, I want to feel energized. That one right smack dab in the middle where the bubble letters are there. Christine says she's looking to feel energetic. Mildred wants to feel lighter. She needs her body rested and mind at peace. That's a good one. Just happy. I love that, Susie. Focused and productive. Christy, yes. Christy says, I want to feel like I'm the CEO of my life. And Kara is asking, how do I write? I want to stop overdoing it in school and half-ass it and get in nature. Y'all give her some words to be able to embrace those feelings. Yeah, JM, I'll slide back to that other slide. Tanya just did a self check and she says, I feel exhausted and overwhelmed and I want the opposite. So maybe energetic and underwhelmed. Oh, underwhelming is probably underrated. That's a good word. Yeah, a lot of energetic coming. Worthy of every blessing for sure, Darlene. Joyful present, energetic, serene, peaceful, or I hope some of these words might be inspiring y'all if you're kind of like, I'm not sure which direction to go. So thank you. Keep dropping those in the chat. All righty, we're going to take these feelings now into setting up our goals and our to-dos. And I'm going to challenge you as we are setting this up to go back and look at what you put in your intention spaces and what you said you wanted to start, stop, and continue for the month. And maybe those spaces will inform your goals for the week. And I want to show you this habit tracker where this person is making themselves go look 4 times for the week, 4 times, go look at my start, stop, and continue. Really trying to hold herself accountable for what she said she wanted from the front end of the month when we set up our month. So maybe go take a peek at those intentions and see if you are, as Brenda says, on track with what you were wanting. I won't read all of these. And I just realized this is an older slide or older graphic where it says the 3 major goals, set goals through the lens of simplicity. I should have changed that to this month's theme of integrity. I will do that. But I wanted to show you a way of using these goals in a repurposed mindset. This person is using it for routines, and you see that they've got this big focused on, and they have 3 areas of growth. So that's kind of all in their feeling word. And then they've got this rhythm and routine little mini tracker set up in their goals. So I thought that was a great repurpose. You can set up no goals, the things that we're taking away. And I'll go back through these while you're working on it. Again, the not to do list instead of the to do list. So those reminders of how you create good boundaries to show up better for yourself, which then helps you show up better for others, which ties right back into that mind map question this week. And then maybe there's a personal challenge, like you can see here, this person celebrate. And so they're going to celebrate health, family, and vacationing as their goals. And then The one over on the right, their words are alive, aware, and able, and they've used those to inspire what their goals look like. And Meredith, yes, I am awful with rhythms and routines. And so, very often, my three major goals are my morning routines, and my shopping list will be my evening routines, my kind of shut up, starting the day and shutting down the day routines, because I get real off track too. And then just some more ways of setting this up. These are like different categories. So work, home, self, mind, body, spirit, frog, fun, and fierce. That frog is always that thing you don't want to do, but you're going to make yourself do it. It comes from eat the frog. Work, family, self. And again, I'll go back through these while you're working on them. Some more examples, lots of examples this week. And then there you can see I want to feel more intentional, less overwhelmed. And then those goals are really tied into that. Prioritize sleep, move more during the day, and increase the focus at work. So then that does help with stress levels and less overwhelmed feelings. And then also, these goals can directly now inspire what your to-do list looks like. So you can see examples of how all three of these have the goals there, and then how those goals are going to happen. But your to-do list may also just stand alone. And we've got some more ideas about to-do lists. And you utilize your to-do list for something else. Maybe you put a very inspirational sticker there, or you do something like this step by step that we see at the bottom left. And then the to-do list goes in your weekly spread because there's a little bit more room and you may track everything. And I love this for the week. We've got the to-do space for at work and then the to-do space for at home. And just having more space works for that person. So you might want to just flip your page for your to-dos. And then finally, you might just leave it blank. And as you do things that are not on the to-do list, celebrate them and write them down. Here's all the extras that showed up in my life. And call that a to-do list. Or maybe you need something like a to-be list, like you see over there. So let's work on this section. I'll go back through these slides. If you saw something you like, be sure to grab a screenshot or a little picture of it. Also, remember, you'll be able to access this probably within half an hour after we're done, and you can go back and take a look. And maybe you already know what you're going to do this week, but you want to save one of these for, maybe trying at another time or repurposing one of the spaces. All righty. So now let's take these goals and to-dos, and maybe they'll inform our habits and activities, or habities. That's a Silk and Sonder word that Maya invented one time when she was talking really quickly. Our habities for the week. That reminder, you've got that big habit tracker at the front of your journal. We recommend those be the things that you want to do most days of the month. But this tracker can be set up to reflect exactly what your week looks like. So maybe you have some commitments that, you're going to do something 2 times this week, but you write it down in this section so it doesn't slip your mind. I always say carpool, right? Like if you're carpooling with somebody and picking up kids, like, Tuesday and Thursday, that's my day. I'm going to make sure I get it. James Clear says, when you do set your habits and activities, it's okay to miss, but try not to miss twice. If this is something you're really like habits that you're really wanting to put into your life, try to be as consistent as you can, but also give yourself grace if you miss. We've got many ways of setting this up. You can see how Sonder family has utilized circling the days that certain things need to happen. I put a yellow circle around that chores and tasks with a podcast. Love the idea of habit stacking, doing 2 things at the same time. If you're listening to a podcast and then you pair maybe your cleaning time with that. So your Maya did something, had a really good point last week. She was like, what do we consume? And then what do we create? What do we put out into the world? And so something like I'm going to, tidy my house and do my chores. So we're putting that into the world. And then we're going to consume a podcast. So it's like that balance for your brain to do both. So I love the idea of stacking those 2 things together. So consider stacking habits, especially if you're starting something new. Pair a brand new habit with something that's already established. You can set goals here, but you don't have to. It's really your vibe, whatever you need. Notice the one in the middle left there. They're only doing 3 things in the tracker. They want to do them 7 times that week. They want to do it on a daily, but they're only doing 3 things. So that reminder, you don't have to fill in all the lines. Also, the one on the bottom right. And you can see, like, I want to move, and they've circled Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. So, that's kind of their little appointment with themselves by circling those days. And then maybe I love the little ladybug, and the ladybug's a great way of dividing that space up into 3 different sections. If you have something like medications that are taken 3 times a day. And so that's a great way to divide that space up. Um, and then you can see, again, circling days that things should happen, setting goals, not setting goals. Again, that reminder that it's all about what you need. And then there's some tracker ideas if you're looking for a little inspiration for something new. Let's work on this section. Tell us what you'll be tracking this week and how you use this tracker. Do you use it for just activities? Is it all habits? Are some of these habits also on your habit tracker wheel? Like, share all of that in the chat, and then we'll go on to page 2 of our setup. righty. So, Janine, you're just in time for the second page of our setup this morning. Welcome. We're glad you joined us. We're going to go to, whoops, I went too far. We're going to go look at the second page of our setup. And here's just a couple of examples of how, they can look. This is the page that gets repurposed a lot because these spaces are just so amazing. I always like to do mind body health plan as sort of a selfish space, like really, how am I going to take care of just me? Might look different from week to week, but a lot of times this is where I put my movement, or maybe it's things like meditation. Just how am I going to care for myself? A little bit. You can see that the meal plan for both of these examples have been repurposed. The meal plan on the left is a priority list. So it's just focusing on one task at a time, and they're broken down little check marks. You can go back in and check with yourself as you are doing that. I love that Saturday and Sunday are a free day. So that's amazing. The one over on the right is going to use that meal plan for my victories. And what a way to celebrate gratitude or the glimmers from your day. And then you can see mind, body, health are set up differently for both of these. But what I notice is that they're both very self-focused. They look a little different, but they're both very intentional about focusing on self. We've got a bingo in the shopping list for the one on the right. I do a bingo almost every week. Sometimes they're fun, but sometimes they're just my chores, and it's just very satisfying to mark them in, or just use stickers. And then the one on the left has a weekly mantra in that I am loving space. So a little bit of a repurpose. And the one on the right has put a sticker there. So let's break this down. I'm going to have a ton of examples to show you of what these spaces could look like. I won't talk too much. I'd rather spend more time going back through the slides, letting your eyes find what they need to find for use in your journal. But here's a great example of using the meal plan as a meal plan as a way to support, the nutrition that's going on in your life that week. And the water droplets are color coded based on what you're putting into your body. We have lots of repurpose ideas. You can see these are also meal plans, fruits and veggies tracking, but also looking at macros, that kind of thing. And let's look at just some great repurposing ideas. Symptom helper, schoolwork, homework, lesson plan reminders, your work reminders. Do any of you dedicate a space in this journal just for your vocation? Tell us where you do that. Have you created a space for like work outside the home, work inside the home? Daily debrief, a word of the day, writing a daily haiku. So good for your brain. Maybe this is a wardrobe tracker or a packing list, energy levels. Y'all look at how this second meal tracker says energy. It's the energy level tracker. And they have their code, their menu for tracking their energy level written in the Mind Body Health Plan. So they're using these two spaces connected with one another. So they're going to kind of check in with self and see how their energy's doing. And oh, Meredith, great shout out. Meredith says, I do my energy levels in the mood tracker. So that's another great place to put that. Appointments, journal responses. And I love the idea of taking a little post-it note and putting your journal prompt, and then your answer is underneath it. Mind body health plan. Again, I said that's kind of my selfish space, because when you take care of yourself, it feels easier to take care of everything else, including the other people in your life, like how we show up. Going back to that mind map question, we've got some ideas for maybe you need to, see if you need to take a break. Maybe this is indicated in this space. This is how I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to journal or drink water or eat without distractions or go outside and get some sunshine or get better sleep or walk. So these two slides can inform that space beautifully. We've got the real luxuries of life, the beautiful, simple things like celebrating the freedom to choose, going on a long walk, reading a good book. And remember that doing your best looks different every day. So you may feel just full of energy one day, a little less energy level on the next. It's not right or wrong. If you're doing your best, you're doing your best. So give yourself that grace. Again, that shout out to our Mental Health Awareness Month. We've got some mental self-care here, mental health checklist. I'll go back through these so you can take a longer look. Maybe you just need to mix up your routine a little bit. I love this little idea over here, the upper right, about maybe pull out an outfit that's kind of gotten buried in your drawers or your closet. Redecorate your workspace or try styling your hair a little different. Just do a little tiny thing to bring a little bit of joy into your life. Let's see, some 5 minute self-care ideas for very busy people. We've got mind spirit health plans. So little repurpose of the word there, but nonetheless, very much the same as just that mentality of taking care of you. Perhaps you want to make it a little fun and use some alliteration. So here's some inspiration for, maybe this goes in your meal plan and you want to have Feel Good Friday and it's going to look like this and you're going to put some things in Friday that will make you feel good and Thankful Thursday, that kind of thing. And then this is one of mine on the right that I did, and I put those questions. That is from Seligman's Flourish model of flourishing in your life. And you just ask yourself on the daily basis, what am I grateful for? What was my role in whatever I'm grateful for? And what was the positive emotion I experienced? And so I just did that little mini reflection every day for flourishing in my life. Bingos are great. Maybe you use the sticker set to inform a little self-care bingo. And then we've got some shopping lists also. And these are little repurposing of the shopping list. And want to point out the one in the bottom is the glad reflection, where you look at what you're grateful for, what you learned, what you accomplished, and what delighted you. Also, the social check-in. Are there people in your life that you need to connect with? Make a little chart and hold yourself accountable to checking in with them, either through a text, a phone call, or good old snail mail. How good would it be to sit and write a letter to someone important in your life? Packing list, journaling, bingos. I love bookish nonsense there in the upper middle. Lots of bingos here. Really good space. And then some inspiration from this Action for Happiness. And I'm going to encourage you to, find these sorts of things to look at. Action for Happiness is an Instagram account, and this is Meaningful May. And so some things on this calendar could inform a space on this page. And then finally, we're going to ask you to drop in the chat, what are you loving? So I'll stop talking and give you a little time to set this page up. Our time goes by so quickly. I am so happy that you woke up this morning and prioritized this time, this space, and this community to get ready for a brand new week in May. It's going to be a good one. We're chugging along. Goodness. At the end of this week, we'll be halfway through the month. And so I'm proud of you for being intentional with what you want for this week, but also as we go forward into the rest of the month of May. I want again to invite you to share your weekly planner in Sonder Club. Take Coach for a test drive if you haven't done that already. And then this week only, if you use the code Mother's Day, you can get 20% off of the whole site at Silk and Sonder. So maybe it's time to mother yourself and go treat yourself to something that you've been looking at. Maya and I are really proud of you for showing up for each other in such a beautiful way. Be sure to grab the link to our YouTube channel. Maya just dropped that in the chat and just make it a great week. Send you lots of light and love. I'll see you next time.